Send it out first. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Let us know if y'all can hear us clearly. Let us know if y'all can hear us clearly, Baba Kusha. And we will get this thing cracking. All right, man. First and foremost, I want to say, call Halal, Yahawah, by Hashem, Yahawashi, by Hashem,
Barak, Qadash.
and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you. I came out there pushing the word of Yahawah, Yahawashi, sincerity and truth. I'm the brother Ariala. As y'all can see, I have a beloved brother, the elder, Required Quan, with me. And we wanted to just do a quick World War III Algo update. And then we named this one Iran. It's about damn time. I know over the last few years, we've seen major provocations from the state of Israel towards Iran, whether it's hitting their proxy, militias or armaments, whether it's actually assassinating their generals or someone significant to them. And so, but we will see limited responses from Iran, and we know prophetically, that's an important part of prophecy is the Carmenians or the Persians, basically starting to stand up. And when you look at this drone attack from Iran towards the state of Israel, this one was actually much more serious than the previous words that would be spouted from Iran. So as I look more into it, the brother Required Quam has been sharing with me information, and at first I was going to ignore it, but the information that he sent to me, I was like, oh wow, okay, well that's interesting. That's interesting. And so, I asked him if he wanted to get on real quick. He's at work, the water brother from jumping on, and I'll let you kind of lead it. I did want to open with the scripture, and then from there, we can go. Cool.
Calm.
I read this scripture last time, Revelation 11:14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And since the time of the solar eclipse, or even before the solar eclipse, things have been moving quickly, man. Things have been moving headlong towards the MOTB being pushed out, and these major nations actually coming into conflict. So what have you received from it? What are some of your thoughts? We'll go from there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of what we've been saying in the algorithm so far. You've got the JWOs playing their role as the aggressor over there in the Middle East, trying to incite these other nations, beginning with Iran, to act erratically. And like the elder already explained, for years, they've been doing things to the Iranians, even backing terrorist groups within Iran openly, and Iran kind of just took it and showed a lot of restraint, because ultimately, they don't want a war in the Middle East. They know too that war will be, detrimental to the entire region. But, through the spirit, these Edomites are the ones that are really pushing for the war, beginning with this guy Benjamin, that a real Jew, and a lot of these JWOs that's behind him. They really pushing to push this thing forward. So when they bombed that consulate, Iran came with a response. But it's key to understand that even in the response is significant, but they have shown restraint because they warned them beforehand. I think it was about 5 hours beforehand. They let other countries know. So in a way, it's like they didn't tell the Israelis directly, but when you tell other countries, then that's telling them. If you understand what I'm saying. So it's about 5 hours before they let them know so that they could move, personnel and whatever. And then they launched the attack. And the video we're going to show you, you got military experts that really break it down that it was successful. It showed that they could be touched because they could have did a lot more than they did. And they did it very cheaply too. And this is all going to build the pressure towards the inevitable World War III, because now that the Iranians has done this, do you think that the JOO is going to just close up shop and say, well, okay, well, we give up, we're going to put our pride to the side and we're going to bow down and be at peace? No. We know that's not the nature of the Edomite. The Edomite is a proud man. He's a war monkey. He's an arrogant man. So we know this thing is going to continue to escalate. Will it escalate tomorrow? Probably not, but it is going to continue. The pressure is still on the Israeli government and the Israeli state to continue down the path that they've already been on, because the world is against them. They're losing the propaganda war. I mean, it ain't looking good. So, yeah, brother, I know you got a precept there.
Yeah, it's just like you were saying. We know through the scriptures that the least of the flock is gonna, do what it's gonna do, and they've been steadily poking at Iran and other people in that region, and so finally we see a response that's noteworthy to even do an algorithm on, because I'm gonna be real, like when Israel was committing assassinations and doing other stuff, I wouldn't even do an algorithm. I'm like, if Iran don't do nothing, it don't matter. Do something. Punch back.
You were pissed. I remember you were like, what the hell, man?
Everybody waiting for y'all to do something. Even Turkey was kind of like, God dang, y'all ain't gonna do shit. So it was good to see a response that was noteworthy to even do this World War III algorithm update, because now we got something. Now we're walking these prophecies down. And Apostle Sahar was, man, the spirit was on him when he said the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. Because it's looking like it's cooking. It's cooking. But here in Jeremiah 49:20 it says, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he have taken against Edom and his purposes, and he have purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. And this is what we see, man. We see nothing but provocations coming out from these small hats, these Edomites that are occupying our land, but they're provoking all of these nations round about. Okay, they're provoking all of them. All right. And so the one major spy, of course, is Iran. And so what I wanted to do is go ahead and play this video clip, unless you had a scripture or a point that you want to bring out beforehand.
No, the only point I was going to say quickly is we're going to cover it in the videos, but you see as well how these other nations, they really like trying to say, yo, chill. Like, yo, chill. Like, on one hand, we back them. But on the other hand, it's like, yo, chill.
Chill out. Like, even America.
Yeah.
Like, America's like, we got y'all back, but can y'all chill out? Yeah, but they can't do it, bro. They cannot do it. Did you have any other points, Art?
No, yeah, we could run the video.
All right, let's do it. Do you want me to put it on faster speed, or do you want me to just run it like regular?
1.25 should be all right.
All right, cool. That's what I got now. All right, bet. All right, I'm gonna start it from the top, unless you had a minute marker.
Yeah, it's good from the top because he gets right into it.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Straight to foremost, what's the importance of these actions in your opinion?
Well, Iran's able to send a message that it can shut down the Straits of Hormuz if it decides to. And that's something the West really needs to take into consideration, because we've already proven that the West, the United States Navy in particular, cannot open the Red Sea. The Houthis, who are a much, much smaller, much, much less capable country, militarily, economically, politically, have completely defeated the United States Navy. And so if the Houthis can do that in the Red Sea, just imagine what the Iranians could do with ample, far more missiles, far more capable missiles, and an actual navy to back it up. So this seizure was, I think, part of an overall coordinated Iranian response to remind the world that Iran is not some power to be ignored, and that it's not some meaningless country that can be repeatedly insulted and violated.
And man, even I needed that reminder. I know what the prophecy said, but they was allowing the state of Israel to kick them around so much. I was just like, maybe these dudes front, man. Maybe y'all some little bitches. But finally, it's about damn time. Iran, shit.
Yeah. And you know, he mentioned just now about the Strait of Hormuz, just showing you how as this thing escalates and different situations happen, it's gonna have an economic effect, which will knock onto a social effect throughout the globe. Because now you're talking about gas prices, now you're talking about inflation, not due to printing of money, but due to energy costs or the lack of goods because of the shipping lanes being interrupted. And all this is going to lead into Daniel's 12:1, you know, just crises, you know, just all over the place. Like you see the bridge situation, how that's adding to the crisis. So you're going to have all these situations going on that's going to basically just mess the world up. You know, it's going to cause those, what's that scripture? It speaks about, oh man, it's totally gone out of my head. It's in Luke. Perplexity. Right. With the perplexity of nations, man. Because the whole system it's kind of messed up already. You know, it's hurt. So only a few more punches, and you know, you got major issues. And then a lot of these countries, they're going into elections. You know what I'm saying? They want to keep things stable. You know what I mean? Like, look at America. They got an election coming up. You want to keep things stable so you can get voted back in. So all these things come into the situation too.
God. And just to read it, Luke 21:25, it says, "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars." Have we not been seeing that with this solar eclipse? And what was it, a week before that we had a lunar eclipse? It says, "And upon the earth the distress of nations." Here we go, man. And I was in this Telegram group. Someone added me with a whole bunch of Israelis. It was an Israeli Telegram group, and they were distressed, man, when the missiles was going off. Okay, they was hoping that the missiles wasn't gonna get through. But you know, we'll get to it in this. Iran specifically wasn't targeted to hit people. You know what I mean? They just wanted to let them know, hey, we can pull up. It says, "And upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, and the sea and the waves roaring." And of course, you know, brothers bring this out, speaking towards that perplexity, you know, and actually what it kind of gets into. Okay, we go into the root. Strong's G639, apareo, if I'm saying it right.
Strong's G639, apareo.
They, you know, this is the perplexity amongst the nation. It says to be without resources, to be in straits, to be left wanting, to be embarrassed, to be in doubt, not to know which way to turn. And that's what happens
Unstable.
Unstable. Yeah. When you have all the resources stripped in your nation, you best believe during the time of Jacob's trouble, there's going to be perplexity amongst the nations for sure. Big time.
Even like you mentioned I've cut out for a little bit, but you were talking about these JOOs, right? Well, a lot of them have dual nationality, because people forget that that country's got a lot of people that are from Britain, America, and they basically buy them out. They say, "Oh, come back over here, we'll give you this, give you that." But these guys keep their nationality from the country they come from. So now a lot of them are like, "Yo, this is crazy. I'm going back to America, going back to Britain." That destabilize your country when you got that much mass. What do they call it? Is it, what's the word? Not immigration, the other word. Whatever. I don't even know what the word is. But when you got that many of your citizens leaving the country, that destabilizes you. Because how many of them are doctors?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm trying to think what that word is when you leave.
Yeah, it's like expat, or I don't know.
When people migrate out.
Yeah. So, but how many of them are doctors? How many of them nurses? You know, people who are necessary for the functioning of a nation. Because usually it's the people who got money in certain good positions that have the ability to leave, because they got a second home, or they got, do you know what I'm saying? So that in itself destabilizes a country. And there was images of the airport just packed full of people, man. You know, it's an exodus of devils. Yeah.
Let's see. Do you want me to keep going on this?
Yeah, kind of. You can roll it.
Okay.
Back and take it. So the combination of capturing this Israeli-owned ship sends a signal both to all the Gulf states that they can, shut down that Persian Gulf, which means, particularly for the United States, a significant spike in the price of oil. All of this during an election year, which would drive gas prices up and make Biden's political fortunes even more dim than they already are. So I think that this was not an isolated event, is what I'm saying.
And let's talk about this attack on Israel. That we knew that Iranian would attack. You talk about them, that you said maybe in the weekend they will do that, and they did it. First of all, how Iran started attacking Israel? How did you find this type of attack?
Well, what's interesting about it is that by Friday after we talked, this really heated up dramatically in terms of all these different countries pulling out of Iran, pulling out of Israel. And then Turkey and a couple of other countries in the Middle East announcing they wouldn't allow Israel or the United States to overfly their territory if they're planning on attacking Iran. It became clear to me that Iran, at a minimum, was telling other countries, and there's been reports now to that effect, informing Turkey, "Hey, we're gonna hit Israel. Just be aware, be prepared, and we're only going to hit military targets." They may have even informed the United States, without giving away precisely where they were going to hit. But what they did.
Yeah, because I think they did let the United States know. Yeah, we're finna come at your boy real quick. Sit tight.
Was a demonstration of power. It wasn't. They were not delivering a full punch. Instead, they were, they're like walking up and smacking somebody upside of the head. Somebody who's standing there saying, "Okay, I'm a good boxer. You can't hit me." And Iran walked up and went, whack, hit him. And I think it surprised Israel, because what Iran.
Yeah, because the state of Israel purports itself as if it's just some impenetrable force in the Middle East, right? And so real quick, they got backhanded. Now, the reports that I was getting when this thing first came out was that none of the missiles got through. Basically, the defense system was able to take down everything. So the propaganda was out there, man. You know.
Yeah, they were basically saying, "Oh, no civilians died," but they weren't attacking no civilians.
Right. Right. Right.
They weren't hitting civilian targets, man. Yeah, these
They only,
devils are sneaky, man.
yeah. It's crazy. That's why I wanted to do this lesson, because the information I was getting was totally opposite of what him and the other guy, what's his name?
Scott Ritter.
Scott Ritter. They had all different types of intel.
Demonstrated was a new kind of strategy that we saw a parallel of it, sort of similar during World War II in the Battle of Midway. Because during the Battle of Midway, you had the Japanese aircraft carriers, and their fighter aircraft took off, went up into the sky, and started shooting down all of these dive bombers. But as they shot them down, the Japanese air cover got lower and lower and lower and lower. And so finally, they were trying to figure out whether to rearm long-range bombers or whatever, when the next wave of American attackers showed up. Now, that was unplanned, but the Japanese couldn't get up to meet them, and so the attackers then ended up destroying 4 aircraft carriers. Well, in this situation, the Iranians launched some drones, more than 100 drones, 150. And then they would launch cruise missiles. Now, the cruise missiles travel faster than the drones. So you can add, subtract, divide, and you can calculate time that, you know, if a drone's traveling at 150 miles an hour and a cruise missile travels at 400 miles an hour and a ballistic missile travels at 900 miles an hour, when do you need to fire the drones, the cruise missiles, and the ballistic missiles so they all arrive at the same time or within minutes of each other? Holy smokes, that's a swarm. And what that did to Israel is, so each Patriot, each of their Iron Dome has 3 to 4 launchers. So each launcher can fire up to 20 missiles. Well, right away, you're assuming that maybe you want to target at least 2 missiles per incoming target. So if you got 100, 150 drones coming in, that means you're firing 300 missiles, and those things are expensive, at least $100,000 a piece.
Jeez.
All of a sudden, Israel, in launching counterstrikes against Iran, may have spent over $1.3 billion, money that it just doesn't have. This attack.
So is he saying that the state of Israel has to spend $1.3 billion to protect itself from that attack?
Yeah, because how expensive those missiles are that they're using to shoot down those cheap drones.
Yeah. So their pocketbooks is getting smacked.
And you got to replace them.
Iran was smart, very smart. There's one they hit. They made sure they hit military targets primarily, and they hit a air base in the Negev Desert and another military installation up north towards Lebanon and Syria, the Golan Heights. They were not killing civilians. They left the cities of Tel Aviv and Haifa and Haifa and Jerusalem untouched. So they were sending a message to Israel, because they showed Israel that we can overwhelm your air defenses with just a small fraction of what we're launching. And my understanding is the ballistic missiles they launched were their older style. They didn't go with their latest, greatest, most technologically advanced stuff. They shot off some old stuff, but it penetrated. And I think the goal was to make Israel now think twice. Say, okay, you have been Israel. You've been poking us, Iran, in the chest for over 14 years. You've been assassinating our scientists. You've been backing terrorist attacks inside Iran. You've been assassinating the Iranian Revolutionary Guard commanders. So now we're telling you stop. And they did so by hitting these targets, and carried with it the reminder that if you do this, if you retaliate, we're going to hit you harder. Now,
so now we see that, you know, from these reports, the Iranians basically used their cheaper missiles. They didn't even bring out the good stuff. They was just using some of their backup stuff, and they were able to successfully hit targets in the state of Israel, you know, certain military spots. Now, when you listen to the Western media, they're going to say, oh, you know, the Iron Dome, and we were able to take out the drones and take out the missiles. But apparently these missiles were getting through, because I did see footage of the missiles actually hitting targets, which I thought was interesting after hearing, oh, you know, we knocked out 99% of those missiles. And then why is all
Well,
the footage of them having these spots getting hit?
yeah, if I could say this, is because the whole point of the attack wasn't for all the missiles and drones to get through.
Right.
It's just like when you got a pressure fighter, he'll throw, 6-7 punches just to land the one big one. You know? So of course they got a missile defense system. You're certain of your stuff is gonna get knocked out. That's why you sent that many to overwhelm the system so your good shit could get through.
Yeah. And that's what basically Iran was letting them know. Like, we got hypersonic missiles that your defense system is going to catch up with. Yeah. We got hypersonic missiles to send with these little baby missiles that can get through and strike true. So I felt like that was very interesting.
Israel's trying to play the victim in all this. Oh, we were hit by terrorist Iran. Oh, hey, they've been attacking Iran for years, getting away with it. And this attack the other day on April 1st on the, I guess the embassy annex of Iran in Damascus was an act of war. Number one, it was a violation of the Vienna Convention, 1961. Number two, and Iran sought UN Security Council action to punish Israel for this. United States, UK, France, oh, no, it's not a problem. Yeah, Iran was asking for it. It's okay to blow up their embassy. So Iran smartly said, okay, under Article 51 of the UN Charter, we can defend ourselves, and by God, we're going to do so. And they made sure that they communicated that to other people in the region. That's why a lot of people started to get our diplomats out, pull out of here. And they carried it off. They did enough damage to let Israel know, if you come back at us, if you don't get the message and stop, we can destroy you. Because they can then send a barrage of 500 drones, 500 cruise missiles, 300 ballistic missiles. And what people forget, I'm on an email chain with some people who are very strong supporters of Israel. And they're so blinded by their hatred of Iran. Oh, yeah, we need to launch bombs against Iran. Let's go bomb Iran. That'll stop them. So I went back to them. I said, do you realize that Iran is 30 times larger in square miles than Israel? So just do a math problem. Let's say that you're Israel and you're going to launch 1,000 missiles against Iran. And you're Iran, and you're going to launch 1,000 missiles against Israel. Which country is going to get a more saturated concentration of punishment? Well, Israel. Because Iran is so big, the mountains are big, the defense establishment has buried a lot of critical infrastructure underground in caves. These people are just stupid. They don't realize that Iran has lots of cards to play. So that, as I look at what happened, Iran was very clear in sending a message. You've now crossed the line with us, and we are showing you what we're capable of doing. And I think it was a bit of a wake-up call for much of the Western world and for Israel.
Maybe one of the things that we've seen in the Associated Press, they were talking about.
So finally, we see that the Most High is stirring up these other nations, as the scripture said that they would. I'm going to actually read this. And what's it also in Joel, the 3rd chapter? Isaiah 13:17 says, behold, I will stir up the needs against them, which shall not regard silver, and for gold they shall not delight in it. Their bows shall cast the young men's pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. So once again, we're going to start to see these nations, or what we're seeing, what we're watching, is these nations being stirred up and being prepared to go to battle. All right. And like I said, it's about damn time for Iran to get up in there. Now, if we see the state of Israel retaliate, which that's what we all hope, right? Then we can start to see actual sites being smacked and people getting removed from the planet Earth and being sent back to the spirit world. You know? Did you have something required, Quan?
No, exactly that. We know, according to prophecy, they are going to continue to poke. They're not going to listen, because that's arrogance. You know, and that's why the scripture says, "Pride cometh before destruction." You know, these guys that are running it over there, they're extremely arrogant. When you have an arrogant individual, they don't want to back down.
Right.
You know, so don't be surprised if you see them. You know, eventually they're going to do something back to try and make a statement. And things gonna continue to build and escalate from there. But we'll see. But we know that eventually that's what's gonna happen. They're not gonna back down. They're not gonna humble. You know?
God. And just because you said arrogant, we go to Isaiah 13:11. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low. It's terrible. So we're gonna see. Okay. I'm gonna keep playing.
That 99% of these drones and missiles were intercepted by Israel.
Yeah, come on, look. They've got the Ukrainian press spokesman writing that crap. I mean, for God's sake, there is video footage of at least 3 of the hypersonic missiles, the ballistic missiles, pummeling the airbase in the Negev. And the Israeli Iron Dome didn't even touch them. They're coming down. Boom, boom, boom. So, and let's not forget, maybe, you know, if they did shoot down that many, which I doubt, but let's just say they did. That would have been part of a tactical operational objective. Let's use the cheap drones to suck up more costly missiles so that our more expensive, powerful, and accurate cruise missiles and ballistic missiles can come in, take out the target without anything to protect them. And let's remember, Israel does not have an unlimited supply of these. They're running out. That's part of why Hezbollah keeps launching rockets in as well. The more they launch, Israel has to fire more back. It's like bleeding them out. That's what's happened. And the United States, it doesn't have warehouses filled with stock that it can send over. Not at all. It used all of that up in Ukraine. So, I think that you're seeing the propaganda spin. There aren't enough videos out there of some people getting, they're going, oh, yeah, this is nothing. And then all of a sudden, boom, you see an explosion and they go quiet.
We've seen that the Israeli government has said that they're going to attack Iran. They're going to respond to Iran. On the other hand, we've seen that the Biden administration is talking about that they're not supporting Israel if they want to attack. They want to respond to Iran. And how do you see the situation in these 2 cases?
It's real simple. If Israel attacks Iran on Iranian territory, some have speculated they can go after oil refineries, oil ports. If they do that, number one, I would anticipate that Iran has beefed up its air defense systems in those areas and would stand a good chance of shooting down a significant number of any Iranian missiles and or aircraft, Israeli missiles or aircraft that try to come into the region. But then Iran has vowed that if Israel does that, it will attack. It will counterattack in much stronger terms. I think people need to start believing the Iranians. They're not lying. They're not exaggerating. They're not blaming something that didn't happen. What they said they were going to do, they did. And part of the problem is people just didn't take them at face value. Oh, they actually meant it. Oh my God, there's a shocker. So the problem with that is that if it turns into an escalatory ladder, where at some point Israel, I guarantee you there are some in the cabinet right now, like Itamar Ben Gvir and Smotrich, who are arguing vehemently that Israel should use a nuclear weapon or 2 against Iran, just to show those Iranians mess around. And if they do that,
So can I touch on that? So I think what's recently came out in the last hour or so is that the Iranians have said if the Israelis retaliate, they're going to retaliate within seconds, which means that they're probably going to shoot that plane down. Because like we discussed at the beginning of the Algo, for years, they've been basically running missions into Iran using their fighter jets.
Mm-hmm.
And you ain't never heard of no Israeli jets getting shot down. You know, they be going up into Syria and the Russians ain't shooting them down. Well, the Iranians, they have the S-300, S-400 Russian missile defense system.
Maybe
So it's like, yeah, so it's fair game. And he also mentioned the nukes, because Israel has nukes. And that's one of the reasons they're also very proud, because they have a nuclear capability, strategic nuclear weapons. And so if they get to push to that point where they use those weapons, as he's going to discuss, then that's it. It's over. That means Russia, China, everyone's going to jump in, because now you've taken it to that level. So this is all beautiful, man. You can see how the pressure is really building and building and building.
Man, let's go. I'm gonna read the scripture, then we can go back. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 28 says, "Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also, the Carmanians, the Persians, the Iranians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians." Okay, and so this is what he's describing, is now we seeing Persia jump into the fight, and they got much more capable armaments, much more capable weaponry, a sizable navy. This is not just some backhanded sand nigga shooting a rocket, from a hole in the ground. No, this is a legitimate nation. I remember back in the day when we was looking at the different military capabilities of all the nations. Remember that?
Yep.
Iran was up there.
And they got experienced personnel because of the war with Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the senior members of the Iranian military, they seasoned.
Right. They ain't no chumps. Okay. We keep playing.
That's going to bring Russia and China into this. And this thing could really spin out of control very rapidly. And that's one of the great dangers.
It seems that Iranian used 7 hypersonic missiles in this attack, and none of them were intercepted.
Yeah.
If they attack Iranian refineries, and they're gonna have a rigid response from Iran.
Well, if you go back in history, we go back before you were born. In 1983 in Beirut, Lebanon. I was all 28 years old back then. Woohoo, old man. The Iranians, backed working with Imad Mughniya, carried out some significant terror strikes against both U.S. and French interests. They did a simultaneous hit on, we call it the Marine barracks, where the Marines were encamped and living, as well as on the French troops, and killed a lot in both French and U.S. Marines. And then it was a few months later, they bombed the U.S. embassy in Beirut and blew that up, and killed at least 4 or 5 people out of the CIA station. Well, Iran was not, even back then, was not indiscriminately attacking civilians. They always had a pretty clear military objective in mind. They were going after something that was clearly tied to Washington's governing capability, or its intelligence community, or its military assets. So what we've seen is, despite the United States' claim that Iran is the largest sponsor of terrorism in the world, Iran itself has not been active in carrying out terrorist attacks. If anything, they were really front and center fighting the Salafists, the Sunni Islamic extremists, who were responsible for most of the heinous terrorist attacks over the last 10, 15 years. Iran was fighting them, and in many cases, you just find the United States siding with the Islamic extremists as opposed to siding with Iran. So I think what Iran's doing right now is just reflecting that it's a pretty mature state that, despite its deep religious faith and adherence to Islam, is still going to play a smart diplomatic game. And I think, frankly, it's outplaying the United States significantly.
Do we know who was helping Israel to intercept these drones and missiles? Which country was helping Israel? Do we know? Do we have any information on that?
Yeah, Jordan reportedly sent up some planes and fired some air defense missiles. The United States, the Brits flying out of Cyprus. So yeah, there was some assistance there. The Saudis sort of kept quiet. They didn't say one thing or the other. You could actually make the case that they were sort of indirectly helping Israel against Iran. It'll be fascinating to see, because if Iran chooses to shut down a lot of Persian oil Gulf traffic, that's going to affect Saudi Arabia, and we'll see how the Saudis take that. And to that end, that may, Iran may use that as a threat to pressure Saudi Arabia to act more forcefully, and getting Israel condemned, for example, by the United Kingdom, France, and the U.S.
How did you find the government in Egypt? Have they been involved in this?
Yeah. They've been relatively silent. They're not, Sisi is not getting out and making big, bold speeches and statements and standing up with Israel. But I think one of the more important aspects of this is the joy it has brought throughout the Islamic.
And that's more proof there too. Like these people that they think they're confederate with the state with these Edomites. These Edomites gonna find out that people ain't with them,
No. Even I heard the Jordanian king. He's an English speaker. He's a plant from Saudi Arabia. He's not even really part of the people. The people are against the state of Israel, but he's helping America. So he's not got long anyway. They're gonna get rid of that guy.
He's gonna be out of there. Yeah. Keep playing.
Arab world over the fact that finally, Israel really got a taste of its own medicine. In the past, the rockets launched by Hamas and even the rockets launched by Hezbollah were not that significant. They didn't carry a big warhead. They were more of a nuisance attack than an actual military attack. This one yesterday was just the opposite. This was a legit military attack.
Is there any possibility, any large?
That's where I was like, finally. But this was actually something that we haven't seen. But it's just like you said, a lot of people are going to rejoice and be glad when they see the Edomites start to get hit up. Right? Obadiah 1 and 2 says, "Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, right? Are greatly despised."
Oh, greatly. The propaganda, the level that the world is against the JOO and America has gone up exponentially since October. Like if you go on Twitter, you go in all these social media, they're getting exposed. You see brothers posting stuff. They like people are now pointing them out. Oh, that person's one of them. That person's one of them. Oh, okay. Like so they're like losing this propaganda war big time. Big time, like the world is like pretty much against them. Even in their own countries, significant amount of people in America, in Britain, are like, yo, this is bullshit. You guys are hypocrites.
Facts. Obadiah 3 says, verse 3 says, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee."
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The pride, well, because you got things under control, you got the media, but they've abused it. They've been too blatant. If you look at the way the state of Israel has operated over the last 10, 15 years, they just basically been doing the most. And there comes a point where it's like, yo, chill. But it's the arrogance, it's the belief that you have with the control. You can do what you want and get away with it over and over and over and over again. But that's why the scripture says what it says, man. Before destruction, what? You have a haughty spirit. You really think that you are the man. You got it under control. It's all about you. It's complete arrogance, absolute arrogance. That's what we're seeing right now.
For sure. It says, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? That's what they say.
That's how they're going on.
For sure. I'm going to skip down to verse 6. It says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Military-wise, economically, all of that's happening, man. They've been found out, just like what Corey Kwame is saying. People are figuring out his systems, whether it be the Hollywood, whether it be the banking system, his military moves over the years. Everything's been found out, man. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Okay? You're not going to be able to get out during that time, man. Okay? Did you have another point?
Yeah, that was pretty. I think that's pretty much it on that video. There was the point about Netanyahu, but we already kind of covered it in previous, Algos, that this guy is under extreme political pressure over there right now because he's a criminal, and it's like the minute he comes out of power, he's going to jail or has to run. So it's like he needs this crisis to continue, and he also can't be seen as weak. Because that's his whole thing. I'm here to protect. He's at that right wing, big daddy with a gun type thing going on. So he has to do something. That's his whole shtick. You need me to protect you because I'm hard on the terrorists. So it's beautiful how the Lord is manipulating the whole situation and putting certain characters in certain positions.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's going to be beautiful to watch it unfold, man.
Yeah,
it is beautiful.
I don't think that he's going to directly attack Iran yet, but he might hit some Syrian targets that are associated with Iran. We'll see, though, man. Lord willing, this thing continues forward.
Yeah, God.
But do you have anything else, man? Any other points, man? I know you got to get back to it.
Yeah. That was it, really. Just to go over the information, what happened recently, and put it into proper perspective. We still got to watch and pray, But yeah, things are happening, man. Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, this was one of the more significant provocations that I've seen in a while. So it's exciting to see everything that's been going on since the time of the Passover. And how it's all coming down, man. So, Lord willing, that was edifying for all you Akim, all you brothers and sisters that tuned in, man. The water filling up. But I guess with that, man, we're gonna say once again, call Halal, Yahawah, double honors of the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to the Akim out there. The word of Yahawashi, Shalom.
Shalom.